everyone, happy Thursday. It's Amanda and we're getting ready for our 5:30 fresh start. So feel free to, hopefully you have all of your props that you might want to use collected, but if you don't, please take a moment to grab anything that you might use during today's practice or your normal practice. And today we are going to get started in one of two poses. I'll let you decide what that right pose for your body is today. But we'll get started either in Vajrasana or Virasana. So Vajrasana is where you're basically just sitting, your hips back onto your heels, but focusing on drawing the heels towards the sky, pressing the tops of the feet down into the mat, making sure that you have that nice straight line and no bowing in or out of the toes. And then for Virasana, if you wanted to take the legs a little wider, spiral those calves out towards the side of your mat and sit the hips down in between the heels. So try them both out, take a moment, see what it feels like for you today, and then decide where you're going to start your practice today. We are going to be here for a few minutes, so just keep that in mind. If at any point you ever feel any kind of pain, please immediately come out or offer yourself a prop, or just find a comfortable seated position. So as we get started settling into whichever seat you've chosen, trying to let go of the day, allow the hands to soften onto the thighs, either palms face down or face up, your choice. Closing down the eyes. And just beginning to breathe. Finding that breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And today we're going to focus on a different type of breath, given the fact that today was our first above 90-degree day. Let's start off with a nice cooling breath for our practice, just in case you didn't turn that AC on yet. So as you inhale, you're going to curl your tongue into a taco, sip in air through the mouth, allow that cool air to follow the tongue in. Press the tongue to the roof of the mouth, pressing all that cold air up, hold, and then exhale out through the nose. Inhale, sucking the air in through the taco tongue. Press the tongue to the roof of the mouth and hold. And then exhaling out through the nose. Let's do 3 more like that at your own pace. Trying to find that rhythm in, pause, and out through the nose. 2 more. Last one. And then coming back to your normal breath pace. And let's take a moment to set our intention for today's practice. And once you've arrived at that word or phrase, repeat it to yourself mentally 3 times. Slowly beginning to flutter the eyes open. Let's get off of our shins here, so rocking the weight forward, being gentle, and walk the knees in so that they're underneath the hips. We're going to tuck the toes under, sitting back. Hips come to the heels with the toes tucked under. Take a moment before we rise up to get all 10 toes in on the party. And as you're ready, hips come to the heels, shoulders stack over the hips, hands come down by your sides. Inhale, circle sweep. Try to find some length through the spine. Exhale, press the breath out and away. Inhale, rising up, reaching up. Interlace the fingers overhead, flip the palms skyward. As you exhale, round into the upper back and shoulders. Press the hands towards the top of your mat. Curl the chin in towards the chest. Inhale, rise up, taking a slight back bend at the top, gazing up towards the hands. Tilt the tailbone up and back. Exhale, round. Coming into a variation of our cats and cows. Inhale, up. Exhale, round. Inhale, rising up, gazing towards the hands. Exhale, allow the hands to settle down by your sides. And then shifting forward, finding that tabletop pose. Allow the toes to lift up off the mat. Maybe starting off with a couple of wiggles, bending and extending the toes, and maybe some taps. Allow the blood to come back to the feet, and allow it to feel good. Coming to hands and knees, tabletop pose. As you inhale, we'll sweep that right arm up towards the side of our mat. As you exhale, thread it through, reaching over towards the left edge of your mat, coming down to the right cheek and shoulder. Let's walk that left arm long today, reaching towards the top of the mat, and using that left hand to press yourself away from the mat. Spiral that left shoulder back in space. Work to draw the belly button towards the spine in this twist. And then slowly bringing left hand back by the face. Inhale, right arm up towards the sky. And exhale, right hand down to the mat. Inhale, left arm sweeps up. As you exhale, thread it through, reaching for the right side of your mat. Left cheek and shoulder come down. Let's reach that right arm forward. Use the hand to open up through the right shoulder. Spiral the right tricep down towards the earth. Try to keep length through the sides of the body here. And then slowly allow that right hand to drift back by the face. Pressing through, inhale, rising up. Left arm reaching towards the sky, unwind and twist. And exhale, back to hands and knees in tabletop pose. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Grip the mat with the fingertips, making sure the index fingers pointing towards the top of your mat. We'll tuck the toes and begin to lift the hips up and back, coming into our downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in here. And exhale, side out. One more just like that before we find our movement. In and out. Now beginning to bring movement to the body. Bending into one leg and then the other maybe. Possibly bending into both. Notice where you're tight. If it's the calves, maybe bending the knees and extending them both at the same time. If it's the hamstrings, bending one leg and then the other. If it's the shoulders, shifting forward and back, or maybe taking a twist. And then we'll all make our way back to stillness here. Press the hands down and forward. Work to draw the shoulders down the back. Lift the hips up and back, tailbone reaching for the sky. And just working the heels towards the earth. Doesn't mean they'll actually get there, but just setting that as our intention. Inhale, rising up onto the toes. As you exhale, slowly shifting forward, begin to lower the knees down to hover, coming back to tabletop pose. From here, we'll reach that right leg back. Ball of the foot comes to the mat. And begin rocking back and forth, rocking forward onto the tippy toes. And exhale, ball of the foot back, press the heel back. Just finding a gentle calf stretch here, shifting forward and back. Try to keep the belly engaged here. Nice and strong in whatever pose we're in. 2 more, back like to reach up and back. Bend the knees, stack the hips. And we're going to start making circles with that knee in one direction. So the direction of your choice. Begin making circles with the knee and hip. Again, belly's engaged, gazing down but forward on the mat. And reverse the circles. Slowly coming back to center. And then as you exhale, step that right foot forward outside the right hand. Walk that left leg back if you need to, finding a little space here. Let's keep those back toes tucked under for now to make sure that the knee and the ankle are in a straight line. Opening up the right inner thigh, maybe allowing the sole of the foot to spiral skyward as we settle into our lizard pose. Finding any movements that you'd like to here. I know I always like to take a couple of movements as I settle in, maybe rocking the hips from side to side, or even gazing over one shoulder and then the other, kind of wagging my tail. And as you feel settled, going back to stillness and center, allow that right inner thigh to spiral towards the sky. And stay up on the hands or maybe lower to the forearms. Only lowering down to the forearms if you're able to continue to lift the heart towards the top of the mat. If you notice yourself rounding out, then just come back to the hands. Or maybe add a block, a bolster, if you really want to come down to the forearms. Just focusing on shining the heart forward, keeping a nice long spine. One more deep breath in. Exhale, see if you can settle a little deeper. If you've come down to the forearms, everyone meeting back at the hands. And we'll sweep that right leg back to meet the left, coming back to hands and knees, tabletop pose. Adjust if you need to. And then we'll step that left leg long behind. Ball of the foot comes to the earth. Nice and strong through the leg, so lift that kneecap skyward. And then we'll begin to rock back and forth, up onto the tippy toes. Exhale, ball of the foot to the mat, press the heel back and down. Shifting forward and back. So trying to keep the same upper body engagement as we have in our high plank pose. We're not slacking here. The belly's not sinking towards the earth. We're lifting the back of the heart skyward. Three more, back and forth, back, forth, last one. Shifting forward, allow the left leg to lift long behind. Bend the knee and begin to open up the hips. We're going to begin making circles in one direction, your choice. Slower is better. Allow the breath to guide the movement. And reverse. And beginning to come to stillness, reaching that left heel skyward. As you exhale, step the left foot outside the left hand. Inch that back leg back if you need to. Keep the toes tucked under and maybe check in. Make sure that the knee and the ankle are in a straight line. And then allow to soften through that left inner thigh, allowing it to spiral towards the sky. Again, maybe a rock back and forth if you'd like to find some movement. Maybe wagging the tail, gazing over one shoulder and then the other. Brings an interesting twist to this pose. And as you're ready, working to settle in, finding the hands, allowing the left inner thigh to spiral towards the sky. Or as long as you can keep that gaze down and forward and the heart open, coming down to the forearms. Imagine drawing that left hip back in space. 2 more breaths to settle in here. Inhale, exhale, settle. Deep breath in and out. And if you come to the forearms, pressing up to the hands, and then gently sweeping that left leg back to meet the right, coming back to hands and knees, tabletop pose. Maybe a shake of the hips from side to side feels nice. And then once again, we'll tuck those toes under and lift the hips up and back, coming into our downward facing dog. And again, finding movement. This time, notice how it feels different from when we first started the practice. Settling in a little sooner this time, finding your downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Gazing forward to the hands, begin to pick one hand up at a time, walking it back to the legs at the back of your mat. Coming to your forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Find length through the spine. Reach the crown of the head forward, tailbone back. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. This time focus on pressing the weight into the big toes. Exhale, let it go. Soften into the knees and begin to ragdoll all the way up. Arms reach up overhead on the inhale. And exhale, thumb tips to heart center. Inhale, circle sweep. And exhale, hinge and fold. Hands pass through heart center. Inhaling, halfway lift. Find length, feel a nice stretch on the hamstrings this time. And exhale, let it go. Earth to sky all the way up, rising up, reaching up. And exhale, hands pass through heart center. Inhale, rise up, reach up. And exhale, hinge and fold. Try to keep the spine nice and long as you lower down. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. One more just like that. Rising all the way up with the inhale. Exhale, thumb tips to heart center. Inhale, circle sweep. Keep that length. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Pause here. This time, bringing that left hand underneath the face. So fingertips are tented or maybe the hands on a block. Begin to bend into the left knee as you open up towards the right side of your mat. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. Still keeping the spine nice and long. Try not to round that left shoulder down towards the earth. Press yourself away. Feeling a little tension here on the outer glute, maybe into the IT band. Inhale and exhale, folding back down to center. Let it go. Inhale, halfway lift. And this time, right fingertips underneath the face. Soften that right knee. Sweep the left arm skyward. Keep that length through the spine, through the sides of the body. Actively pressing into that left foot. Press into the big toe. See if you can stack that left shoulder over the right. Inhale. And exhale, soften, folding all the way down. One more time. Inhaling, halfway lift. And this time as you fold, walk the hands back to the top of your mat, finding your downward facing dog. On your inhale, right leg reaches up and back. Pause here, work to send that left heel down towards the earth. Keep the spine nice and long. Exhale, step it all the way through. Lowering down onto the left knee. Let's rise up, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. You can untuck those back toes, or maybe you like the extra support and stability. Maybe you like knowing that the knee and ankle are in the same line, so you keep the toes tucked. Your choice. As you inhale, find a lift through the upper body as you hug the inner thighs together. Making yourself nice and tall here, lifting the heart towards the top of your mat. As you exhale, hands come to the top of the thigh, interlace the fingers. So here, we're pushing ourselves away from that right thigh, but not really using any effort on the leg. So all of this energy is coming from the core, from the shoulders, finding that lift. Hands are super light on the thigh. You don't even need them. Feel that draw back of the right hamstring, of the right heel. And slowly, trying to keep the same amount of weight in the top of that right thigh, begin to extend the leg. Start hinging from the hips, folding forward. Still nice and light in hands. I can even lift them up. Continue to draw that right heel back, right hip back. Keep the spine nice and long. Maybe you stay here. Maybe now the hands drift down to frame that front leg. And only the option, if you'd like to, and you're ready, rounding forward. Let's inhale, find that halfway lift. Keep drawing back on the right heel. As you exhale, turn the right toes towards the right side of the mat. Send the hips towards the left. Find that deep stretch in the IT band here. This might be enough right here. There's no shame in that. If you'd like to add on, pull that right hip back and fold. Slowly coming out, coming back to center. Plant that right foot so the toes point towards the top of the mat. Lift that back knee up, rise up, crescent lunge. Draw that right hip back in space. Lifting the back of the heart forward. Knit the front ribs together so the core stays engaged here. Try to find that lift, that lengthen towards the sky. One more breath. Exhale, hands down to frame that front foot. We're gonna lift right leg up and back for three-legged dog. From here, lift the gaze forward on the inhale. As you exhale, begin to bend the elbows, taking them out towards the sides of your mat. Draw the nose towards the thumbs. Nose diving towards the mat. Inhale, rising up to upward facing dog. Pause here, feel the length on the front side of the belly. And exhale, downward facing dog. So a little different than a traditional flow. If you'd like to skip that and just go through your traditional flow, that's fine. If it causes any pain in the wrist, please don't do it. Inhale, left leg up and back. Again, checking in with that right leg. Send the heel down towards the earth. Find length through the sides of the body. Exhale, step it all the way through. Back knee lowers down. Tuck the toes, untuck them, your choice. Rising up. Nice low lunge. Left hip, left heel, draw back. Firm the inner thighs together and feel some tension in the outer glutes as well. Everything's drawing in towards the midline. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hands to the top of the thigh. So from here again, just find that lift, continue lifting the upper body away. Nice and light through the hands. Keeping that same lightness. You're gonna extend that front leg, draw the left hip back, and then start to fold. Still keeping the hands nice and light. You don't want to apply any downward pressure on the leg. If this feels good right here, stay here. If you'd like to bring the hands down to blocks or to frame, go for it. Draw those left toes up towards the face. And only the option if you'd like to go a little further, hinge and fold. Keep drawing that left heel back in space. Inhale, halfway lift. And from here, turn those toes to face the left edge of your mat. Send the hips to the right. Feeling that deep stretch on the left IT band. Again, no shame in staying here. If you'd like to, continue to draw that left hip back. Hug the inner thighs together and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Coming back to center, plant that left foot down, toes facing forward. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee up, rising up, crescent lunge. So today's one of those practices where by the end, or right now you're probably hating me a lot, but my hope is by the end that you're liking me at least a little bit. Draw the belly button towards the spine. Keep lifting that back leg skyward. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot. Send the left leg up and back, three-legged dog. And again, as you inhale, lift the gaze forward. Begin to bend the elbows. Draw the nose towards the hands at the top of your mat. As you nosedive, rising up, taking your back bend in upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Walk it out if you need to. I know that IT bend isn't necessarily feeling so great right now. It's probably talking to you. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, step it all the way through. Again, lowering down to the back knee. We'll pause here. This time, untuck the toes. See if you can walk that left knee back a little bit. Right knee's over the ankle. That left hand comes down to the mat, and that right arm's gonna reach up for the sky, twisting open for the right side of your mat. Inhale, sweep the right arm up by the ear. As you exhale, cactus the arm, draw the shoulder back. Twist. Inhale, and exhale. Back and forth with your own breath. Trying to make it fluid, not holding too much tension here in the pose. Inhale, and exhale. Two more, in and out. Last one, forward and back. Exhale, right hand comes down to the mat. We're gonna tuck the back toes back under, rising up, Anjaneyasana. Knee on the mat for now. Making sure that you have all 5 toes of the back foot tucked under. We're slowly going to lift the knee to hover just about an inch or 2. Draw the top of the left thigh forward. Right hip back. Keep the front leg where it is. Begin to extend the back leg. Nice low crescent lunge. Inhale, find length. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Right leg reaches up and back. Three-legged dog. As you exhale, bend the elbows, draw the nose towards the mat. Inhale, coming up into your upward facing dog. And exhale into downward facing dog. Other side, left leg reaching up and back. Exhale, stepping it through. Lower down onto the back knee. Keep the toes untucked. And from here, let's draw back on that left hip. Right hand plants, opening up towards the left edge of your mat. Reach the right fingertips skyward. Draw the right ribs towards the left inner thigh. As you inhale, sweep the arm up by the ear. As you exhale, cactus, draw the left shoulder back. Inhale, sweep it forward. And exhale, draw it back. Inhale. And exhale. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just feel it out, reach it forward, and draw it back. In and out. 2 more. In, out. Last one, in and out. Slowly bring that left hand down to frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes under, rise up a low lunge. Finding that lift through the upper body here. Find that grounding sensation through the left foot, through the right toes, and slowly lift that right knee to hover. Try to avoid leaning forward. Shoulders over the hips. Draw the top of the right thigh forward, and then begin to extend that back leg long. Crescent lunge. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Left leg up and back. Three-legged dog. As you exhale, bend the elbows, draw the nose towards the top of the mat. Inhale, take your back bend. And exhale to downward facing dog. As you're ready, inhale, rolling forward like a wave, passing through a table, and then lowering yourself all the way down to the earth. From here, let's bring those hands wide, so bringing them off the mat, tent the fingertips. Bring the nose, bring the forehead to the top of the mat, tops of the feet come to the earth. As you inhale, start by pressing through the fingertips, lifting the heart away from the mat. Allow the head to hang heavy as you push yourself up, coming into a back bend, head lifts up last. Deep breath in at the top. Exhale, slowly undulate down. Head comes back to the mat, press through the fingertips, press the shoulder blades up, and then head comes up last, inhale. And exhale, lower. So finding that same movement with your own breath pace, I always find it difficult to allow the head to hang heavy until the last moment. So finding your rhythm here, inhaling and exhaling. Creating some length through the front side of the body. One more. Inhale. And exhale all the way down. Bringing the forehead back to the mat. We're going to bring the hands down by our sides. And then all the way around to the low back, interlace the fingers. Begin to extend the arms back, lifting the knuckles away from the low back. As you do, the shoulders will start to peel away from the earth. Lift the gaze forward, lift the toes, draw them together, finding your locust pose. If you can, again, try to lift the thumbs away from the glutes. Inhale. And exhale, slowly releasing it down. Take a deep breath in and out. In and out. So slowly, we're going to start to roll onto that left hip. As you roll onto the left hip, bend the right knee, using it as kind of a kickstand. So the right shin is parallel with the right edge of your mat. From here, we're going to bend that left leg and see if you can reach back for the top of the foot. Coming into cat-tail pose. Finding a little bit of a quad stretch here. If you find the foot, draw the heel in towards the glute. If you'd like to intensify, laying all the way down, resting the left cheek on the left shoulder. Try to draw that left knee straight towards the back of the mat. One more breath here. Slowly releasing that left foot. Extend the left leg back. Use the right fingertips for support as you extend the right leg back. And then start to press up onto the left hand. So coming into a little bit of a side body stretch here, sinking the ribs down and forward. Allow the shoulder to draw up towards the ear. I don't say that a lot. So allow the left shoulder to draw up towards the ear. And then we'll find the engagement pushing into the hand. Lift yourself away from the mat. So feeling that stretch move from the ribs down into the lower side body. Slowly allow the shoulder to come back up by the ear and then press into the hand, push yourself away from the mat. So nice small movements here, but very impactful. It stretches everything from that left hip all the way up into the left ribs. Moving up and down, up, down, up, down. And the next time you press the hand down, lifting the shoulder out. Let's bring that right foot to the mat, right toes pointing towards the right edge of the mat, and lift the hips up, coming into a modified side plank. Right arm can reach up towards the sky, or maybe up towards the top of the mat. And then slowly bring that right hand down, step it back, and lower all the way back down onto your belly. From here, let's wash it off with a few more of those cobras. So tent the fingers wide on the mat. Inhale, lift yourself away from the mat, head comes up last. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale. And exhale. In. And out. One more in. And out. Rolling onto that right hip. Both legs extended for now. Let's bend into that left leg, using it as a kickstand here. And as you're ready, bending into the right knee, reaching back for the foot or ankle with the left hand. You can use that right hand for support, or maybe extend that right arm long. Keep drawing the foot in towards the glute. Drawing that right knee towards the back of the mat. One more breath. Slowly releasing, unwinding, extending that right leg. Extend the left leg back to meet the right. Use the left fingertips for support as you draw that right hand in so that the right hand's underneath the right shoulder. Sink the right ribs towards the top of the mat. Allow the shoulder to creep up by the ear. Press down into the fingertips, lift yourself away. Feel the stretch drift down into the hip. As you lower, allow the shoulder to creep up by the ear, feeling the stretch drift up to the ribs, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Just a few more. The next time you press down into the hand, allow the shoulder to draw down the back. Let's use that left leg as a kickstand and lift the hips coming into our modified side plank. Left arm reaches skyward, or maybe up and overhead towards the top of the mat. Actively pressing out through the base leg. Inhale and exhale, hands come down, stepping back through plank, and then lifting the hips up and back, coming into your downward facing dog. Taking a few rounds of breath here. Trying to make this nice and active, so don't get lazy in this pose. As you inhale, right leg reaches up and back. Exhale, let's step it all the way through. Rising up, crescent lunge. So we've been here before, we won't stay here for too long. Find that length through the upper body. As you exhale, hands come to the top of the thigh. Finding that same interlace as we did before. Hands still nice and light, just as they were before. Imagine pushing yourself away from the thigh. Begin to hinge forward, leaning forward through the heart, hands still nice and light. Back leg gets so light that you slowly lift it up and back, finding warrior three. Keep that right leg bent for now. Keep the hands on the top of the right thigh. Use this engagement to draw the left hip down and keep lifting the heart forward. Draw the shoulders together on the back. If you'd like to now, go ahead and extend that base leg. Keep lifting the heart forward. And as you exhale slowly with control, bend the left knee, bringing the knee to the back of the right calf. Slowly tracing the calf. Bring that left leg all the way down to the mat. Sitting the hips back in between the legs and getting ready for a twist here. So that right knee is pointing up towards the sky. Inhale, reach the right hand up. Exhale, twisting towards the right side of your mat. You can use that left hand to draw the knee in, or maybe you hook the left elbow outside. Sitting up nice and tall, draw belly towards the spine. One more deep breath in and out. Slowly unwind and twist. Plant the hands to face the left side of your mat. Press into the feet and step them wide, coming into a wide-legged fold. Maybe shaking the hips from side to side, just working to settle in here. Press into the outer edges of the feet to lift the sits bones up and back. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, walk yourself back towards the top of the mat and step it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg reaches up and back. As you exhale, stepping it all the way through. Again, finding that nice high crescent lunge. Finding that lift through the upper body, lifting through that back leg. Exhale, hands come to the top of the left thigh. So we know what's happening here this time. Again, using the hands as supports here. We're going to lean it forward, leaning forward, hinging forward. And when you can't hinge anymore, allow the right toes to lift up and back. Keep that bend in the left knee and work to square the right hip down. Draw the shoulders back, lift the heart forward. So imagine drawing the shoulders down towards the hip points. And if you feel stable, extend that base leg. Nice long line of energy from the crown of the head through that back heel. Inhale, exhale, curling right knee into the back of the left calf. Slowly trace it all the way down. Right shin comes to the mat, sitting back. Finding that nice tall seat here. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, twisting towards the left edge of your mat. Finding the clasp that you need to. Maybe that right hand outside of the left knee, or maybe the right elbow outside of the left knee. Try to open the heart towards the left edge of your mat, maybe even gazing over the left shoulder. One more deep breath in and out. Slowly unwind and twist. Hands come to plant towards the right side of your mat. Press into the feet and step that right foot wide. Again, coming into your wide-legged fold. Toes and heels slightly out. Maybe a wiggle of the hips from side to side. Or maybe this time you grab onto the big toes with the peace fingers. Pulling the crown of the head down towards the earth as you tilt the sits bones up and back. One more breath in and out. Slowly releasing whatever you have a hold of. We'll inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, walking yourself to the top of the mat, finding runner's lunge. And we'll step it back to downward facing dog. And from your downward facing dog, we'll inhale, rising high up on the toes. As you exhale, slowly lower all the way down onto the knees, onto the shins. As we find our hero's pose. Sitting hips back onto the heels. Taking a moment now to get ready for our frog pose. So I like to turn towards the long edge of my mat. You might even like to, if the knees are a little bit sensitive, maybe find a little roll of the mat doubling it up, tripling it up, whatever you need to, maybe a blanket. We're gonna come to our tabletop, hands and knees, in whatever direction you've found yourself. And then slowly, we're gonna begin to walk the knees out, one knee print at a time, I suppose. All right, so from here, we wanna avoid rotating the feet out right away. We're not finding rotation through the ankle, we're finding rotation through the hip. So the further you walk your knees apart, then the more naturally the toes are going to start to rotate out towards the sides of your mat. So keep walking those knees apart until you find that nice sweet spot that gives you a little bit of a grimace. Toes pointing towards the outer edges of your mat. Those inner thighs opening up towards the mat. Send the hips back so that they're in between the knees. And if you're ready, maybe lowering down onto the forearms. Keep shifting the weight back. And all I can say is breathe into it. Just like in our lizard pose earlier, try to keep the heart shining forward. Try to avoid it rounding into the upper back and shoulders. And work to settle in. Sending the breath most likely into the outer hips. See if you can soften through the inner thighs. Three more breaths, you got this. And then beginning to rewind, being gentle, pressing into the hands. And then begin by bringing the feet towards one another, and then picking the hips up, drawing the knees closer, coming back to hands and knees, tabletop pose. And before we transition, let's send the hips back towards the heels and find our child's pose or seed pose. As you feel ready, begin to walk the hands in towards the body, bringing yourself upright. If you need to make any adjustments to your mat, move any props out of the way, please do so. We'll find ourselves seated facing the top of the mat. Both legs extended for now. Maybe you give them a little shake. And then coming up high on the sits bones, we'll draw the sole of the left foot to the right inner thigh. Sitting up nice and tall, heart facing the right toes. As you inhale, rise up, reach up. As you exhale, folding over that front leg. If your hands easily reach the foot, try to draw the chin towards the shin and the ribs towards the thigh. Maybe even forearms towards the earth. If your hands don't easily reach the foot, no worries. Maybe you place a slight bend in the knee and work on drawing the ribs towards the thigh. That way you kind of get everything that you want. You get your hands to your feet. And then from there, you can work on inching the foot away from you while keeping the ribs glued to the thigh. Try to send that right thigh bone down into the mat if the leg's straight. And slowly rolling all the way back up to seated. And we'll switch sides, extending that left leg long, drawing the right foot into the right inner thigh. Sitting up tall, draw the base of the ribcage forward. Inhale, rising up, reach up. And as you exhale, hinge and fold. Take a moment to remind yourself that wherever your body is at today is just right. Slowly releasing whatever you have a hold of. Begin to roll all the way up to seated. And we'll bring the feet down, knees up. As we begin to lower all the way down onto our spine, try to make it one vertebrae at a time. Gently, slowly rolling down, lower back, middle back, upper back, and shoulders, back of the head. Walk the heels in towards the glutes. And from here, we're going to take that right leg and we're going to cross the right ankle just above the left knee, coming into our supine figure four. So maybe this is enough for you here. You're pushing that right knee towards the top of your mat, and this feels good. Maybe you'd like to interlace the fingers behind the left thigh, maybe to the front of the left shin. As you do, continue to draw the knee forward. Push it away from the body. So imagine creating separation between the right shoulder and the right knee. See if you can draw the left knee package in closer towards the body, so sending the right knee away. Spine stays long. Keep the knees drawn in, but release the grasp that you have. Arms come out to a T. Slowly allow yourself to roll up onto the left hip, allowing the sole of the right foot to come to the earth. That right knee pointing up towards the sky. Maybe use that left hand to grab onto the right ankle. Keep sending the right knee away from the body as we come into a sacral reset here. So if you have any low back problems or sciatica, it might feel a little tender right now. This is such a good pose. Maybe you even use that right hand to push the right hip away from the body, creating length through the side body. That right foot stays planted on the earth. Slowly releasing, bringing those arms back out to a T. And we'll bring the legs back to center, unwind and twist, and switch sides. I don't know about you guys, but every time I do that, I always feel something shifting in my low back. It's kind of amazing. And then that left leg will cross left ankle just above the right knee. Again, maybe staying here if that feels like enough. Sending the left knee away from the body. Keep the left foot flexed. Or if it feels right, reaching down, hugging the knee package in towards the body. Keep the shoulders firm on the mat. Keep the spine, the tailbone on the mat. Check in with that left knee. Keep sending it away. Slowly releasing what you have a hold of, keeping the knees where they're at, and then rolling up onto the right hip, allowing the sole of the left foot to come all the way to the earth. Maybe you grab onto that left ankle as you send the left knee away. And again, option if you want to take that left hand to the left hip crease, finding some additional length there, feel free. Just play around with it. Some of these adjustments might not feel right in your body, and others might feel spectacular. One more breath here. And then slowly drawing the legs back through center and extending them along on the mat. Allow the inner thighs, allow the insides of the calves and the arches of the feet to spiral towards the sky. Maybe you bring that right hand to the low belly and the left hand to the heart. Or taking a more traditional shavasana, bringing the arms down by your sides, palms face up. Wherever you find yourself, take a deep breath in. And as you sigh it out, let go. And find your shavasana. Choosing to pause and continue your shavasana, or beginning to find movements in the body, Rolling wrists and ankles. Wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe reaching the arms up overhead for a nice long body stretch. And then hugging knees into the chest and rolling over to your favorite side. When the time feels right, pushing yourself up to seated on the mat. Finding a nice comfortable cross-legged seat. Hands come down by your sides. As you inhale, circle sweep the arms up overhead. As you exhale, press the breath out and away. Inhale, rising up, reaching up. Exhale, letting it go. One more deep breath in from earth to sky. Breathing in the energy and vitality we've created and drawing it home to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Taking this energy out into the world and sharing it with everyone you meet. Honoring the light inside and teacher in us all. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Well, thank you for joining me today, guys. I know that that's kind of a departure from my normal power. So for those of you who don't enjoy the sweat of my power, I hope this was enjoyable for you. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks.